Welcome to this fourth episode of Making India Great Again. My name is Vishal Mangalwadi, and I'm discussing Prime Minister Narendra Modi's slogan that how can we make India great again? We must heed that call because this is God's desire to make India a great nation. And I explained that this idea of making India a great nation doesn't come from President Trump or from the USA. This comes from the Bible, because the Bible is the book that saw imperialism as diabolical and built nations which don't go to war against other nations but build their own people, develop their own people as the source of making India a great nation. So in the fourth video, we were talking about what God does to make a bunch of slaves, which were Hebrews, who come out of Egypt, but they are on their way to make Israel a great nation. God begins by giving them a written text. Now they are illiterate. God gives them a written text because when God has written a letter to you, even if it is written on stone, you have to learn to read. And God says, make copies of it. Meditate upon it day and night, which means cultivate your mind. Think about it. Apply it to all of life, what I'm telling you how to live. And teach it. So in order to become a great nation, you must become a teaching community. Your homes must be classrooms for your children. This is actually what begins to make India a great nation. I mentioned in the previous episode that when the British came here, we had 3 classical languages and thousands of dialects. These were Persian, Arabic, and Sanskrit. Very few people spoke Persian because that was not even the mother tongue of the Mughals. They had made Persian this court language because they did not want other Muslims who didn't know Persian to understand secrets of the statecraft. The state secrets have to be prevented from passing out to everybody. So these languages were, particularly Persian and Sanskrit, languages of discrimination, hiding the power of knowledge from the common man. The learned Pandits hid the knowledge of Sanskrit even from their wives, and that's why Sanskrit never became, even today, never became India's national language. Even today, there are only about 25,000 people all around the world who speak Sanskrit. But it was the missionaries who began to transform Indian dialects into literary languages. The first missionaries who came from Denmark, Danish missionaries in Tamil Nadu, they began to translate the Bible into Tamil and create Tamil language. But during the British period, William Carey was a cobbler in England. God called him to come to India, to bless India, to make India a great nation. And the first thing he did was to begin to translate Bible into Bengal, because that was the headquarters of the East India Company in India. So that was the biggest landmass, which included Bangladesh and Assam and Odisha in Bengal at that time. So he started translating the Bible into Bengali. For that, you had to create dictionary, lexicon, turn Bengali into a literary language which could produce a Raja Ram Mohan Roy, a Rabindranath Tagore, a Michael Madhusudan Dutt, or the writer of Anand Mat. these writers were able to write in Bengali because the Bible translators began to transform oral dialects into literary languages. Language became a bridge. So once you have translated the Bible into Bengali, what you have done is not just given Bible to the Bengali speaking people, but you have built an intellectual bridge, a language which can take scientific ideas, legal ideas, management ideas, literary ideas to the people who don't read Sanskrit or don't know Persian, but with little training they can, the language dialect that they already speak, they can begin to use it to study science, study law, study mathematics, to cultivate their minds, engineering. So this transformation of language. So William Carey began a mission in Sirampur, which is north of Calcutta. That used to be a Danish territory because at that time, 1793, when he came to India, at that time the British Parliament had banned missionaries from going into Bengal because East India Company was here to make money. Missionaries are coming to bless the native people. They want the native people to make money, to be rich. They will oppose the economic interest, especially if it is corrupt, economic interest of the East India Company. So the British Parliament had banned missionaries from coming into Bengal. Therefore, Carey came in a Danish ship and went to Danish territory of Sirampur and built the Sirampur mission with the blessings of the King of Denmark. And that later, when the British civil servants had to learn Bengali, had to learn Marathi, had to learn Indian languages, they invited William Carey to come and teach, because in Calcutta they couldn't find a teacher of Bengali. So William Carey became a professor in the college that was training civil servants. That college was called Fort William College in Calcutta, where English civil servants were being trained to govern the kingdom of East India Company. Now, these civil servants had to go to Orissa, so they need to learn Odia. They have to go to Maharashtra after Marathas were defeated and the British began to manage Maharashtra. They have to learn Marathi or Gujarati or Telugu or Assamese, etc. So all of these languages were created by Bible translators. Many Pandits who knew Sanskrit and knew Persian and wanted to be employed by the British, they helped the missionaries, the Bible translators, to turn these oral dialects into literary languages, which is necessary for the intellectual awakening of India. So India became a great nation to begin with, because missionaries created all of the modern Indian languages in which the learned priests had no interest. Now, most Indians don't know, like there's a blame that North Indians are trying to impose Hindi upon Tamil Nadu. Well, Hindi is not a Hindu language. Hindi began as a Hindustani, which Reverend Gilchrist, who was a surgeon with East India Company, when he began serving in Calcutta, he was told that India's court language is Persian. He traveled with the East India Company soldiers up from Calcutta via Patna all the way to Faizabad, Awadh, etc. And he found that nobody knows Persian, nobody speaks Persian. So what is India's language? India has no language. Every 10 miles the dialect changes. So he created Hindustani as by mixing a number of dialects. that Hindustani was turned into Urdu. Urdu came out of Hindustani, and Urdu came out 100 years before Hindi came out. There was a missionary who was appointed chaplain to the East India Company, Henry Martin, who was a teacher in Kanpur, which is north of Allahabad, below Agra. In Kanpur, he took Hindustani, and through translating the New Testament for the wives, because many of the young men who came from England to govern India or trade here, they were unmarried. They took local wives. That's how the Anglo-Indian community was born. But these women didn't know classical languages, Urdu, Sanskrit, Persian, Arabic, nor did they know English. So he began creating Urdu for them through Bible translation. And then, because Urdu was depending a lot on Pashto, Arabic, and Persian, some of the Brahmins felt that we need Hindi. So out of Hindustani, Urdu came, and then Hindi came. Hindi was born in my hometown. The Hindi grammar was written by Reverend Samuel Kellogg, who was in Allahabad, and he spent the summer months in Missouri. He created modern Hindi. The first Hindi writer, if you look into an encyclopedia, the first Hindi writer was Babu Harishchandra. He was 11 years younger than Kellogg, Reverend Kellogg. So Hindi is a very recent language which got popularized through missionary schools. All of these languages were created by Bible translators who wanted to make India a great nation. And to make India a great nation, you have to cultivate the minds of the people. To cultivate the mind, you have to give a language to them, turn their language into a literary language in which they can read great literature, they can read great ideas and scientific theories, and build science and technology and agriculture and horticulture and animal husbandry and businesses, etc. So what had happened in Israel, God had promised to Abraham, I will make you a great nation. I will make you a light to all the nation. The transformation that happens in Israel when a bunch of slaves become a great nation flowing with milk and honey, that's what I'm going to do with India. And Abraham's spiritual descendants, the missionaries who come here, they helped create all the modern Indian languages. So vernaculars were not developed by learned Brahmins. They were developed by Bible translators. And the best detailed study of this thesis that I'm presenting to you in a few minutes is a 700-page PhD thesis by Dr. Babu Varghese. He took 5 years to study about 83 languages. Now he has studied more than 100 languages in India that were created through Bible translation. And this is what began to awaken the Indian masses, that every child can acquire knowledge in his own mother tongue and then build upon it. So to make India great again is a process of lifting up illiterate, ignorant children, cultivating their inner capacity, which will be able to use all the natural resources that God has blessed India with. That is, I will continue to talk about what has happened in the past, that not only these Bible translators created Indian vernacular languages, but they also began schools to educate every child. I will talk more about it, but my burden is to talk about future, that if we are going to take up the slogan seriously of making India great again, what do we do? How do we do it? That's what we will discuss in the sixth episode in this series of Make India Great Again. Thank you.